Thank you all for being here this morning. It's a few minutes after 10, so we're going to jump right in. So I'm Amber Soria. I'm the Executive Director of Mavericks Community Foundation. Today is our Tips and Tricks panel. The goal of this session is really for some of our experienced nonprofits to share some information with you all on how they have approached their Coastside Gives campaigns over the years. One of the consistent pieces of feedback we get about Coastside Gives is that it's really helpful for nonprofits to hear the different things that other organizations have tried when they are approaching their campaigns. And also, we really encourage collaboration. So we are going to have Brianne, our lovely program coordinator, who you should all be very familiar with, will be facilitating. She will be introducing you to our panelists. We are going to have all three panelists present, and then we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A for the panel after each one, after they've all three done their presentations. Then the second half will be some information from Brianne about additional tools that are available on the platform for you all to take advantage of if you want to, specifically focus around peer-to-peer fundraising, which can be helpful when you guys are building your campaigns in terms of visibility and reaching more people. So we will just jump right in. Thanks.
Thank you, Amber. All right, let's get started. Can you guys hear me? Okay. We want to take a moment and show you this year's sponsor list. It's quite robust, and if you see any of them out and about, just make sure that we're thanking them for their sponsorships this year. All right, these are our three panelists. This year we're going to hear from Alejandra Ortega from Puente. She's the Fund Development Director. Say hi. Then we have Molly Stone, the President of the El Granada Elementary PTO. And then we have Jane Ganal from Coastside Feral Care. Sorry, Feral Care. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with Alejandra if you want to start.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Do we have to turn this on?
We should see. Okay. Maybe I need to move. Is this good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we included in here some information about who we are. So we are in the large nonprofit category. We've been participating with Coastside Gives since the inception. So it's been a while for us participating. And for this campaign, we do have regularly 3 to 4 staff working on just the campaign, the planning, designing collaterals, all of that. And but our staff is comprised about 35 staff in total. So eventually, some of the other staff in our organization does help with, the day of the event, or making phone calls, or making thank you calls. Our board also participates in that level, including the thank you calls to our donors that we do after the event. So just so you guys get a sense of who we are, or who we have on staff, and then we do also count on some volunteers to help us with our mailers. All right. So I would say for the past 11 years, this specific campaign has helped us raise funds specifically for our youth program. It is not funded by a specific grant or individual, so we do count heavily on this campaign to fund our youth program that provides internships in the summer. We've divided the program into 2 components. The YES program is for our younger youth who get anywhere from professional development to exposing them to other organizations, other communities, getting financial literacy classes, and Adulting 101, different components, mental health. But then we also have youth who are going off to college, and we do have a pretty significant amount of support for these students through scholarships, both for our graduating seniors at Pescadero High School, but also those who are pursuing four-year schools, trade programs. And then this year we are including in community engagement programming. So we did, in the fall, we had a Dia de los Muertos workshops through the month of October, and that was really successful, just bringing community members together, families with their children. So we want to host more of those events in the community. Just a little bit of information from what we did in fiscal year 24-25. With the funds that we received, we were able to provide 24 youth with just summer programming, then 14 internships for our older youth, and then 29, we supported students submit 29 college applications totaling about $2,000 in fees. So even though it doesn't sound like it's a lot, a high number for our community in the South Coast, it is very impactful to support youth with all of this. And then we also have separately about $100,000 in scholarships provided to those who are still in college and trying to finish, their fourth year at school, really providing that, filling that gap for them. Great. All right, in terms of timeline and strategy, the first thing I did with my team is start planning. So as you see on the screen here, we have a timeline that we use. Either you can use it through Excel. We do have a link to a template, so it will be included, I believe, in the slides after this presentation. But we include everything from okay, what pictures are we putting on our giving guide, to what do we need funding for? We need to draft the letter that's going out to our donors. We need to design our collaterals, all of that. So we repurpose the template, and after we have it, we just need to either include or omit things every year after. And that's usually, again, my team of 3 that we start planning with this timeline, and then just assigning people different parts. For us, it is very important to secure our match. So we've had the same matching donor for a few years now, and so my job is to secure that early on. And I know it is important for some of the organizations to do that as well, but if you're new, find someone, one of your donors, maybe it's a board member, who is willing to provide a match, whether it's $5,000, $10,000. If it's larger, that's amazing. But really find someone that connects to the cause, connects to your project that you need funding for. That will be the start. And invite them for coffee, invite them for lunch. Talk to them about what the needs are, what you've been doing with that project so far, what it's going to look like this year, and that way you provide those updates to them. So that's what I do on an annual basis, is meet with the donor. I'll report back on how we did last year, how it's looking this year already. Our education director already told us yesterday, I think, that she's actually going to need more money this year. She had 45 students apply for the YES program, then 18 students for the internship portion of the summer programming. So my job will be to, okay, where do we need to look for more funding this year? And so the same for your organization is give all of that information to your matching donor so that they're able to see the importance of their gift. And then plan your outreach. So for me, it was, okay, how much money, first of all, how much money do I have to spend on basic things like postage, printing, because we do outsource and print. For example, we mail out postcards to our local donors in our 4 service areas. We do mail out to our donors, and this year what I decided to do is that we've had a good number of new donors that gave to other programs at Puente, but I said, hey, let's reach out to them, because what we've learned is that even though they might fund a specific project or program in your organization. They might also, now they know about your organization, they might fund something else. So I decided to expand my mailing list this year, and we do a letter to about 800 of our donors. Thank you, Amber, 3 minutes. So just think about that. Encourage donations of any amount. There's going to be prizes, so also use that to your advantage next year. And testimonials are always good, whether it's participants, whether it's board members. If you provide, like we do, internship sites. So this year we're going to ask some of our hosts to provide small testimonials for us. And then lastly is promote. Use what you have, whether it's your social media pages, whether it's your, you send email blasts. Promote throughout your different sources. And I know we have schools here as well, so if you have text messaging options, do that as well. Anything and everything will help as reminders. We also, for us, it's important to promote other partner organizations. If you support other organizations, please do so, because it just provides the message of we're all united in this campaign. And then on Giving Day is one of the things that we like to do is we'll call our donors that haven't given, and we'll assign some specific people, maybe our board members, and call those that haven't given just as a reminder. And some of them actually enjoy the having the conversation, but also the reminder. Send another email blast if you can on the day before. Share where you're at. If you're still halfway through your campaign, let them know that you haven't reached your goal yet. And invite people to give in person is really important. And find the programs you already have happening. So if you have school events, if you have maybe a food distribution like we do, is promote within your programs. Some of your participants will also give as well. And then thank you is also very important. I mentioned thank you calls. Send email blasts if you can. I know for us, we always send the acknowledgement letters with the amount of their gift. We know that Mavericks sends an email automatically when someone makes a donation, but for us, it is important to send that extra acknowledgement of their support. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Molly.
Just real quick before you start, Molly, just a reminder that these slides will be available on the website after this session. So they'll be there for you to reference throughout the rest of the giving campaign.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Yes? Okay, so I'm Molly Stone. I am the current PTO president at El Granada Elementary, and we have been participating in Coastside Gives for 9 years. It's actually one of our 3 major fundraisers, so we try to make up about a third of our budget from Coastside Gives. We support programs like art, music, PE, and science, things that funding is lacking for across the board. That's what we use our funds from Coastside Gives for. And we are a little different because we are all volunteer, no paid staff. So we have a board of about 7 members, and then we have obviously our school community who meets monthly, that's comprised of parents and teachers from our school. Let's see, a few years ago we decided to move away from having an auction, which is something a lot of schools do, because we felt that there was such an opportunity with Coastside Gives to raise a significant amount of money, and leveraging all of the great work that the Mavericks Community Foundation does to promote the event. As a small group, it's really important for us to leverage opportunities like that, so I think that's worth noting. Next slide. So some of the things that we do at El Granada, we really cross-collaborate with a lot of other PTOs, so we like to support each other versus competing directly. Everyone loves their small school here on the coast, so we work together with social media strategies. You can see up there that's all of the schools on the coast, along with our other partners, CEF and Boys and Girls Club. That is promoting our power hours. El Granada really focuses on the competitions. We have a lot of fun with it. As you can see here, We also use our creativity, so the one thing we have going for us is we always have new parents joining the school with new and fresh ideas. So you can see this picture down here was for the social media challenge last year, in which we were acknowledging and thanking all the businesses, and we asked our students to draw pictures, and then they were posted on social media. So that was a really fun way to promote the businesses and also leverage our students, and by engaging our students, it just helps kind of further promote the messaging. Another thing we focus on are in-person events. So we like to do happy hours and kind of community gathering events around power hours, and also around kicking off when Coastside Gives starts. We feel like there's a big education piece that's really important in educating our community about what Coastside Gives is. Next slide. So then, yes, plan and iterate to determine what works. So as I mentioned, we meet once a month as a PTO, so we're already discussing and talking about our Coastside Gives strategies. We find that there's always a group of people that knows exactly what Coastside Gives is, and then there's a group of people that seem to not know or be confused about what Coastside Gives, because it's, you know, all of the nonprofits on the coast participating. So we try to make collateral. A parent made this last year explaining what Coastside Gives is, and we try to get that out pretty early, always including QR codes and things like that to link to more information. And you can see that we always pick a few competitions to focus on each year. So we listed out what we are focusing on and what those challenges are. One thing that was really interesting is, I think it was the year before last, we were like, okay, we're gonna do on the map, and we didn't win. And so then we went back to the literal drawing board to think about a fun way to engage the community, and we printed this giant map, and it was hung up at the front of the school, and as kids or donations came in from different states, the kids were able to paint in the state up there, and the kids absolutely loved it, and it was we did win that challenge that year. So it just goes to show that, like, reiterating and thinking each year on new strategies and new plans, and we don't always focus on the same competitions. It just really comes down to what people have like new and fun ideas for. Let's see, so what else did I want to say? Yeah, a lot of this depends, like I said, on parent involvement, because we all are an all-volunteer organization. So I always get excited when new people want to get involved, because that's where most of our ideas stem from. I think do I have one more slide? Yes. And then again, this is just the messaging for us. Since there are so many schools on the coast side, we always come up with different ways to engage across all of them. Like I said, trying not to compete, but rather support each other. We all need the funds, so it's in the spirit of Coastside Gives to collaborate. I think that's all I have. But yeah, we absolutely love Coastside Gives at El Granada Elementary. Our families get really excited and really engaged, as do our students. So we're really thankful for the Mavericks Community Foundation for putting this event on. It makes a huge impact on our budget. Thank you.
Any new organizations, the competition she was talking about will be, the prizes and that kind of thing will be all unveiled, because there may be new ones.
Yes.
Every year it's different, at the March 25th meeting, so make sure you guys are there. All right, next up we have Jane.
Hi, is this working? Forgive my voice, I'm not trying to be Marlena Dietrich, I'm just getting over a terrible cold. So, Coastside Feral Care, very small organization with, we are proud to say, a pretty good sized reach. We started in 2015, myself and my co-founder Maggie Cooney, who passed away unfortunately a couple years ago. We finally decided to become a nonprofit when we were doing all this rescue and spending our own money, and realized we're going to end up living in our cars if we don't get serious about becoming a nonprofit. We have no paid employees. We're all volunteers. 5 board members, and around 15 volunteers who do everything from trapping cats to feeding them in the morning to taking them to get spayed and neutered. I'm getting ahead of myself. What we do, we care for the coast's homeless cat population. We provide daily meals to about 5 or 6 colonies of cats here on the coast. We spay and neuter all the cats. We make sure that we figure out which ones are adoptable, and there's a whole process for that. And we provide medical intervention for the ones that we find that are injured or sick or wounded. One thing I didn't mention here, it's a small thing that we do, but I'm proud of, is that we provide food donations to the Alas food pantry, so that our interest is in keeping cats in their homes, so that people who are low on money won't just abandon them because they can't afford to feed them. So this is something we've started in recent months, where we provide 3-gallon Ziploc bags of dry food of decent quality. So we've been doing that for a while. So this is our 4th year of Coastside Gives. Since 2015, we've rescued close to 500 cats. But most importantly, I think, is that we've dramatically reduced the community's population of strays by spay and neuter. That's what you have to do. So, evolution of our approach. Year 1 was me deciding, hey, we should be involved in this, literally a week before the deadline. And so I managed to get in a hurry, but just did a very slapdash job. I was just so grateful to be involved. I didn't really think through the messaging or anything like that. I'm sorry you can't see these slides very well, because I just thought I would put something up here that was indicative of what it is that we do. This was a kitten who was found in the Montero woods. Like how it survived, I have no idea. We named her Bella, which was an aspirational name, because this was truly the ugliest kitten I think I've ever. She was such a mess. She was just pockmarked with flea bites, ticks. Anyway, took her in, got her medical care. She was very close to death, and so it took about a month to get her stabilized in a foster home. And so we got this recently of her, and she's just a princess now. She's gorgeous and happy in her home. Just wanted to provide sort of a visual of what it is that we do. Anyway, years 2 and 3, obviously we gave it a little more thought. Realized that this was sort of pre-Next Door, but before Next Door became such a big thing, and realized this is how we're going to get new volunteers, because at that point it was just a very teeny tiny group of 3 or 4 people doing all this work. So we made sure that volunteering was a box that you checked if you donated. That was very important. That was very helpful. Also, people on the board and in my helping circle basically saw that I was kind of a one-woman show here doing pretty much everything. And dear Kathleen over here said, let's take this off your hands. And so in years, especially years 2 and 3, I got very excellent help with the Coastside Gives campaign, and they enabled me to not just think so seat of the pants and really actually plan things out. And this year, we are trying to kind of work on our mission statement so that people are aware of all the things that we do, and not just the, trap a cat and take it in to get fixed. And again, we're making another pitch for volunteers, because even though we're doing pretty well in terms of volunteers, we could always use more. Now, in terms of managing the campaign, again, we are a very small organization, and so a lot of this is me. 3 minutes, I didn't realize I was talking so much, okay.
You're doing great.
We email our lists like a month before, a week before, and then on the day of, please give. Create a theme for the year. Last year was Rescue, Heal, Hope. So each of these emails has an example of a cat story that falls into that particular category. We ask volunteers and board members to spread the word and donate if they can. We'll be handing out signage to display on their property. We have a pretty weak social media presence, I have to admit. We have a volunteer doing it, and she works full-time, and so it's not terribly robust. And one of our goals this year is to increase that so that, especially for Coastside Gives, the word really gets out. In terms of email content, stories like the one I just told you. We have discovered over the years that even though we see a lot of heartbreaking things, people don't want to know those things. They want to know that this kitten wandered into civilization and that we brought her back to life and found her a lovely home. They don't want to know about, cats that die because they get neglected or that kind of thing. So this was a hard lesson because for a while we were kind of trying to impress upon people that Coastside Feral Care is good because we see these heartbreaking things and take care of them. But that's not going to make people open up their wallets, we've discovered. So donors, in terms of certain donors I know that tend to give in the spring. Last year I asked a good friend, and when I say major donor for Coastside Feral Care, that's $2,000. That's probably not a lot for the big ones, but for us that's a lot. I asked them to give it during that time so that we can call it create a matching grant for that. And in terms of setting a goal, I think one reason we've been so successful, relatively speaking, is that we always set a goal that we think is actually attainable, as opposed to aspirational. Sure, we would love $50,000 to set up a shelter because it's so decentralized. We also know that's likely not going to happen, so we keep it low-ish so that we think we can achieve that. And then we increase it if it looks like it's getting to the point where it's going to be achieved. I just think the optics are better, especially for a small nonprofit. In-person events don't really work for us, although we always ask our major donors if they'd like to go along with us sometime on a trapping mission, or to just feed the cats, or shuttle them to 9 Lives in Redwood City for spay and neuter, just to try and get our donors involved that way. But that doesn't really have much to do with Coastside Gives. Anyway, we are so grateful to be involved again this year. Thank you so much to Mavericks Foundation, and I hope everybody has a good year.
Thank you, that was all great information. At this time, do you guys have any questions for the panelists? All right, well, thank you.
I have some questions.
Sure.
Can I ask? I'll ask. The group doesn't have questions. So I'm wondering, Molly, you said that you guys have in-person events, like you guys will do happy hours and you try and capitalize on events that are already happening.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a little bit about what that looks like? So when you're doing a happy hour to promote Coastside Gives, are you doing it like when early giving opens? Are you doing it on Gives Day? And then how does the promotion of that kind of roll out?
Yeah, so we we typically do, yes, a happy hour around the kickoff of Coastside Gives. And that is just, a lot of times our families are looking for opportunities to get together, and that just helps us spread the word in sort of a casual way. And then we've had a lot of success with also having a get-together around our power hour on Gives Day. So we usually do at least 2 events. It just kind of creates a lot of enthusiasm and people kind of reaching out to people that aren't at the happy hour, but it helps us all get together and promote it that way. I think my presentation focused a lot on competitions, and that's true, we do. That works best for us at El Granada because we are kind of like a vibrant community of students and parents. But yes, specifically the events are around promoting what Coastside Gives is, obviously what we use the money for, and then another event on Gives Day to really kind of increase awareness around our power hour, but also just the day of giving, since that's where most of our funds are raised. Oh, and we usually do that at businesses that support either Coastside Gives or our school, since we're a small community, and that's a way of us kind of giving back to them by hosting something where people are then gonna spend money at their business. We usually feel really good about that, so, yes.
Presumably, your organizations have other fundraising campaigns throughout the year also, and if so, how do you balance those campaigns with the Coastside Gives campaign or dovetail in?
Yeah, ours is pretty simple because we're so small, but we all, prior to Coastside Gives, we would do 2 campaigns a year. One at the end of the year when people are writing their checks to nonprofits, and one in the spring, and Coastside Gives has sort of now become our spring campaign. And we just send an email solicitation. Yeah, that's how it works for us.
For El Granada, we have 3 major fundraisers. We have voluntary tuition, which starts in the beginning of the school year, our fun run, which is kind of in the middle, and then Coastside Gives at the end. And the way we separate it is who we're targeting. So voluntary tuition, we're typically asking parents and guardians to give. The fun run is asking businesses and then extended families, aunts and uncles. And then for Coastside Gives, we really rely on the greater community of Half Moon Bay, and kind of that's why Mavericks Community Foundation is so great in getting the word out, because everyone knows it's going on. So that's where we typically get donors that maybe aren't currently at El Granada, and aren't asking our parents and families again. It's kind of a different group of donors for us.
Yeah, for us, Coastside Gives is it's the second largest campaign of the year. This one specifically focuses on the youth program, just because we do run it, in the summer. So donors already know that it's specifically for, youth, scholarships, and then whatever else we need to fundraise for. Then we have same year-end giving campaign, which is the first larger one, and then we have smaller campaigns throughout the year specifically focused on like back to school drive or winter essentials for families. So I think most of our donors already know what to expect in terms of the ask, and some of them will give again. Some only give for Coastside Gives or make their annual gift then, because they know it will get matched. And then, but typically, and what I've seen too that is really amazing, we have a lot of Coastside support. About 70% of our donors that gave through Coastside Gives are all up on the coast. And again, what we're trying to target too for us is how do we get new donors on the other side of the hill, right? That don't know about our organization, don't know about Coastside Gives, because we need more support as well. But for the most part, people are generous. They want to give, they want to support multiple organizations, and this is a perfect cause.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I'll try to squish these together. So I'm with a really small group, so we don't have, I'm really envious when I hear you guys say the board and the volunteer, we have nobody, we don't have a board, and we don't have, so we're really trying to increase donors and awareness of us. We're the Coastside Breakfast. So we do have volunteers, but we're all working, so we maybe have 10 people. Any suggestions from those of you to just help us sort of get off the ground? We did Coastside Gives last year, and we were really, really happy with what we did. But we're still at the point where I hear email blasts, I'm like, oh, I don't have a list. Donors, so maybe is it taking people that have donated last year? Is it any tips for a small group like us to start building that donor base so that we do have somebody to reach out in the future?
So don't you have a spreadsheet of everybody who donated last year?
We have yes, I mean, we'll have people that donated last year to the Coastside Gives when we get the
Acknowledgement.
acknowledgement, so we can go through and do that. But again, we started last year, so we don't have a huge list. So, I mean, any list is a good list.
That would be my first bit of advice is just to collect those into a database and
Yes.
email them all and say, we're back this year, you know, and.
Yeah.
But I thought every nonprofit had to have a board, so.
Yeah. So it's, if you're a fiscally sponsored nonprofit, your
Oh,
structure
got
might
it.
be a little
Okay.
bit different.
Yeah.
But so, anybody who's participated in Coastside Gives previously has their donor list available to them in their profile on the Mighty Cause platform in their donor report. So like Jane said, that's a great place to start, especially for small organizations. That's a great place to start.
And they don't have to have opted in, so we can actually take that list
So
and use that.
typically what we suggest is when you're sending out thank yous from the year before, right? So that you are including with that thank you a little notification or a little something that says, would you like to hear more about us throughout the year? Or would you like to be updated on our work throughout the year so that they can opt in there? You can, so if you're going to be participating in Coastside Gives, you'll start to build some of that donor history year over year in the donation reports. So that's one way, as Jane mentioned, you can look at that. For organizations who maybe have very small boards or not a very robust board, it can start looking like tapping into volunteers. If you have a really steadfast volunteer or two who are helping your organization, you might sit down with them for a brainstorm session. It could also look like reaching out to another organization that's in this room and saying like, hey, I'm trying to like work through this idea. Can I chat about it with you? Or also, you're always welcome to approach Mavericks to have those kinds of conversations too. So it's, those are some ideas on other places to start. I think Alejandra, you might have some suggestions.
Yeah, I would say use your list from the platform, but also, if you're a small organization, maybe you don't have that staff and volunteer group, that maybe come up with a list of your needs first, so that you're also saying, okay, I need help with this, or on these days, or putting a letter together. That way, you kind of reach out and already have some expectations of what are the needs, and people can be like, okay, well, I only have time to help with this, let me sign up. And if you don't have social media, I mean, really Nextdoor, I think sometimes there's a lot of traction in there.
That's a
Sometimes
good idea.
good, sometimes bad, but at least I guess get your foot in the door.
Yeah,
And reach out that way.
and maybe using that, because one thing that we always need, in addition to funding, is volunteers. So we had thought about going onto Nextdoor and, you know, telling the story of what we do and getting volunteers, and maybe that's a way of kind of getting, you know, the fit. I like what you suggested too, Amber, because I know there's organizations, other nonprofits, that we serve the same base, so maybe, you know, connecting with them and saying, hey, you know, we're feeding some of the people that you know, start in your doors, and now we're feeding them. So maybe that's a great suggestion.
Any other questions?
I will say that we went on Nextdoor about a year ago when our volunteer base had shrunk because of people moving away or whatever. And I just thought, why not? It's a crapshoot. We got some great volunteers on Nextdoor. And we were very articulate and said, you know, can you help transport cats to appointments? Can you feed cats one day a week in the morning, you know? And people responded, so, yeah. We also, out of the maybe 12 people that responded, maybe 6 of them really gelled, but that's certainly better than nothing, yeah.
All right, we are right close to time. Do you have a quick question?
Yeah, quick one. As much as I love the idea of people giving just to give, or at least for a tax write-off, has anyone ever tried giving like a, you know, KQED gives like a gift for a certain amount, or like making a shirt, or like some sort of, you know, free breakfast or free ticket to your event?
The Eagle Project, over
Yeah.
a gift over a certain amount, they got a hat.
How did,
Oh, yeah, they can get more.
They want the hat.
And over time, we raised the giving amount to get this way, because it became expensive, like it became expensive to ship, so like,
Yeah.
we sort of listed it too.
They wanted the
They
swag.
They wanted the swag, yeah.
I was wondering the same thing, and then it's all still tax deductible for them?
You reduce, like,
Like if they give $100 and get a T-shirt, is that what you're asking?
you reduce the value of the T-shirt in their tax receipt. So if the T-shirt value is $10, they get a $90 tax receipt.
Okay.
So I would say if you as an organization are looking at doing something like that, the tax receipts that are automatically generated from the platform are gonna come out for the amount that they paid on the platform. So you would have to issue a secondary receipt. Another thing that we've seen organizations do is kind of connect like a raffle type situation to something. So like anybody who donates to us between April 1st and April 7th is going to be entered into a raffle to win a gift certificate to Sam's Chowder House, right? So then they're tracking the donors that are coming in during that time frame. On April 8th, they're announcing this was our raffle winner and giving that prize away or that incentive away. So it can create a talking point around some of those raffle scenarios. So I do want to hold, I'm going to let Brianne, we have the second set of slides just with some information, and then at the end we can circle back and have more of these questions.
Just with the raffle, like we can't do raffles. We've been told by the Secretary of State or whatever. We can do drawings, but we can't follow the raffle.
So I guess you're right, that would be a drawing, that's more of a drawing. If you do want to run an actual raffle as a nonprofit, you have to apply for a raffle license through the Secretary of State, which is a very basic thing to do. It's like a 1.5 page sheet submission, but you do have to obtain an actual raffle license. So you're right, thank you, that would be more of a giveaway or a drawing.
Okay. All right, I'll be quick. There are a few other tools that we wanted to point out that we've seen throughout the years that have been very, very helpful. First off, this part is called fundraising campaigns, and basically on the platform you can set up a fund.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Your mic's not very loud.
Hello?
So I'm
Yeah.
Try that. Just to make sure the recording.
Is that working? Okay. Fundraising campaigns. A fundraising campaign is connected to your organization. On your organizational fundraising page, you can set it up, see up there it says campaign, and it brings up a fundraising page. So if there is a specific cause or create a sense of urgency for a certain portion that you want to do, for instance, if Puente wanted to do scholarship fundraising, whatever it may be, they can set up a specific fundraiser page for that portion of it there. You can combine it and promote it on social media. You can even create an event fundraiser and use those for in-person events and things that are happening during the giving time. If you are a returning nonprofit, your previous campaigns are not visible to donors, but you can edit and then you can enable it to become visible again. The other portion that we wanted to highlight is peer-to-peer fundraising. This I find very, very helpful. For a lot of organizations, it gives people within the organization, much like board members or key partners, a way to set up like their own story of why this organization means something to them. Then they can reach out to their personal donors, and it just makes it more of like a personal touch. So peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns enable your donors, board, and other team members to promote giving through their contacts and social media. Direct donors in your pre-giving day campaigns to fundraise. Direct donors to your pre-giving day campaigns to fundraise button, that's showing up there. On the home screen, set up your personal fundraisers, and then you can even create a team fundraiser if you wanted to do it as a group. But there is a how-to video, so when these slides become available, there is a video that shows step-by-step on how to set those up and how they're beneficial. Matching grants, I know we talked a lot about them, but matching grants help boost your campaign's impact by encouraging donors to give, knowing that their contributions will be multiplied and go even further. Mighty Cause has been so great to set up another how-to video, so that link will be enabled when you guys have the slides. You can match donor names and logos added into your profile to help highlight the generosity. You can promote the match opportunities on your social media. You should, like they have said, consider which donors and board members you can approach to ask for a matching grant and how important that is to set it up ahead of time before early giving starts. So these are some of the slides that will show how to set that up, but there's a more in-depth on the toolkit. Create effective donor outreach campaigns. So all of this starts obviously before early giving starts, but we need you to, we would like you to start with different strategies depending on which type of donors you're targeting. You figure out who you're targeting, if you're going to do new donors or repeat donors, large donors or small donors. What's the best method for your organization to reach them? Is that direct mail? Is it calls, emails, social medias, events? What is your messaging to them going to be? What is your focus of this year's campaign? Go ahead and start with your, tailor your outreach method and message to the most effective segment of your donors. Plan the coordinated campaigns across the media, and then leverage the reports with Mighty Cause to analyze the targets of your previous donors. Share your results and donors and let everybody rejoice in your success. So on here, on the platform itself, there are a lot of reports that'll show you what happened last year, what to look for this year, how to set your goals, and all of that kind of stuff. All right, Coastside Gives key dates coming up. We have the prize meeting and material pickup on March 25th. It's a mandatory when you show up. If you pre-ordered any of your swag, that'll all be available as well. Early giving opens April 1st, with the big day being May 7th. We'll have the wrap party on May 8th, and then technically Coastside Give donations will close that Monday the 11th. Pre-order! Go to coastsidegives.org and pre-order your merch. This is what it'll look like this year. It's very cool.
Do we order signs through pre-order too?
No, signs will be available here. There's going to be a limit per organization, but they'll all be available for pickup at that.
Okay.
When this slide goes live, all of these are links to those videos as well, so if you want to go in and see more how-to videos. And then more links and resources, all of this stuff is on the toolkit. But if you have any specific questions of where to find something, you can always reach out to me. And there is our information. All right. So I think next up we're going to talk about, or we're going to open it to any other additional questions that anyone might have.
Did you say that, that Mighty Cause automatically sends a message to the donors when they've made the donation? We write it, but it automatically gets sent. Is that right?
Mighty Cause sends the receipt and the thank you
Okay.
after a donation is made.
Okay, thank you. And just to Alex's question, I've given, tickets to people, or passes at a certain level, and people like that.
Like a tier
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole tier system set up, but for this specifically, we offer it less with Coastside Gives than we do as like a donor in general, but we put everybody's name on our program and projections when they get.
Like your brain there. Thank you.
Any other questions?
How do you pre-order the signs?
So you don't pre-order the signs will just be here available for pickup at the prize meeting.
Oh.
So at the, in terms of what Mavericks Community Foundation provides, every organization will usually get 2 yard signs that you can take, and then we will also spread them around the community. We generally have banners available for organizations to also take and help us hang up around the community. Giving guides will be mailed out directly. They usually hit mailboxes in the first 10 days of April. So that's kind of the cadence. We always try and make sure we're sending them out, we're getting them out in the mail right around when early giving starts, but not before. So we're always kind of straddling that line. So usually it's kind of the first 10 days of April that the giving guides go out. And then also, the last couple of years, we have had table tents that have QR codes on them available for supplies pickup also, that you guys are welcome to grab a stack of those and put them out. So those items will be here at the, as Brianne said, at the price meeting for you guys to pick up at that time. One other last thing I wanted to say, I know we've mentioned it several times, and I know these ladies mentioned it too. We do kind of hammer on matching grants because it's a pretty powerful tool. So even, and I know some people, you might hear somebody like Puente say, a $5,000, a $10,000 match, and some organizations might be like, that sounds insane to me, right, because you're small. But even a $500 match can be really powerful. It's a talking point, one, to say that we have this matching grant opportunity going, please help us meet our goal. Donors like to know that their funds are being amplified, so that's also really powerful. And so, of course, we always want everybody in Coastside Gives to think big and have lofty goals, because we have lofty goals, but also you can think realistically and what feels good for your organization. And maybe for a first time out with a new organization, maybe it is a $500 matching grant, and that's great. So kind of be thinking at it from that perspective also.
So is there a way, if you get, say, a business to sponsor, not one of the businesses that are already a sponsor, is there a way on your page where you can advertise that or give them, the credit for being the matching grant?
So when you set up the matching grant, you can input whatever title you want for the matching grant. So it could be, the Safeway matching grant. You can put in their logo information so that along with the matching grant information that shows up on your page, it shows their logo.
Where does that appear then, on a page?
So where that appears on your profile page for Gives Day, it will, let's see if we have a screenshot in here. I'm gonna see like an org page. So you have all of these fields that you can include. You can include a picture, a logo, those sorts of things. On your main profile page, it will track where your donations are tracking, how many donations you come in. It will also show the match information there.
Okay, but you can say who?
Yes.
Or who the business is?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Name of the match sponsor and the logo can go.
Okay,
in
I
that
just
middle
remember
one.
seeing numbers, but
Yeah.
not names.
See that?
Here's an example.
And then it says sponsored by.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing that I would recommend is really encourage you to, when these slides are posted, to go to the how-to video. It will take you through step by step the options you have for setting up a matching grant. If you run into any challenges with that, you're welcome to contact Brianne and she can also walk you through it. But what it will look like on your profile page will depend on how many of the fields you choose to populate when you're putting the match in. So if you don't include a picture, then no picture will show up. If you don't include a very specific title, then a very specific title won't show up. So you kind of have, there are some fields that it's going to force you to fill, but then you have some options of some of the other ones you want to include.
Is $10 still the minimum?
It is. The donation minimum on the platform is $10. That will be the case. One thing that we do is Mavericks Community Foundation, we always do give again emails. So during early giving and then also headed into Gives Day, we usually send one out the day before and on Gives Day, we will send emails out automatically to the thousands of people that donated previously. and it will show up in donors' inboxes, and it will say, Coastside Gives is happening again, would you like to give again? Here are the organizations you gave to last year, and they can easily just click, 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 throw them in their cart and donate again. They also have the option to then click, 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 and increase donation amount, or pick and choose. So, but we do those on everybody's behalf. Any other questions?
Do you let us know when those are out, so that we don't also send out something on the same day, like?
We haven't typically, we have to schedule them, it's a whole behind the scenes thing.
Yeah, no, that's good, I didn't even know that happened.
And so, but if you yourself have donated to Coastside Gives, you will know when one goes out because it'll be in your inbox, right? So probably most of you have seen them, but we try to be very conscious of not over inundating people, so we will usually do one around the time that early giving opens. We'll do another one around mid-month, and then when we get close to Gives Day, we usually do one a day or two before, and then one on Gives Day. And on our end, we are filtering those. So if somebody gave during that very first email during early giving, we're weeding them out so they don't get another give again email in the subsequent send outs. So. Any other questions? Well, thank you guys. If you think of questions afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out.